My name is Melanie Caffe. I'm the oat breeder at South Dakota State University. Here we have the crop performance testing plot. Every year we test breeding lines for the breeding program to know what to release and how it's performing across the state. And we also work with the crop performance testing people group to evaluate varieties that are already released for recommendation to producers. So here in Southeast Research Farm, every year we test that trial. We have each entry that is replicated 4 times, and today I'm just gonna highlight some of the varieties that are recommended for this area. So if you want to know a little bit more about the result, every year the crop performance testing puts them online on SDSU extension, and you can type 2019 South Dakota Oat variety trial result, Beresford, and you can see for Beresford, but also results that are summarized over the state. And so the varieties that are doing well in the eastern part of the state and in Beresford are varieties that have resistance to crown rust. In the last 2 years we have seen a lot of crown rust. Last year we had so much crown rust that susceptible varieties were completely covered with pustules, orange pustules. This year it's been much more dry, so we're not seeing a lot of crown rust. So here we have Dion. Dion has performed well. It was released from the University of Minnesota, and it has performed well on the eastern part of the state because of its crown rust resistance. Last year we did see more pustule than we normally see on Dion, but overall it still has a good level of crown rust resistance, and it fits for the milling industry. It has a yellow hull. Another one that I will talk about is Aidan. Aidan is susceptible to crown rust. Here is a leaf from Aidan with a crown rust pustule. So this year we don't have a lot of crown rust. It's been dry, but last year we would have from the bottom leaf to the flag leaf covered with crown rust. And when we have condition ideal for crown rust, it really spread very fast. Like last year on a susceptible variety, from a few pustules to completely covered, it only took 8 days. So Aidan overall has very good yield and test weight, but because of the crown rust susceptibility, we would not recommend it at the eastern part of the state. But if it is planted, it would need a fungicide application, and for the fungicide application it needs to be done at flag leaf. Here we have Saddle. Saddle was released in 2017. If Dion is too late in maturity, this is a good option. It is an early maturing variety with white hull. It has very good lodging resistance and good crown rust resistance, and it also fits the milling industry. So with a similar test weight as Dion. Here we have Warrior. Warrior is a maturity between Dion and Saddle, so mid-maturity. It has also very good lodging resistance, not as good as Saddle, but very good yet, better than Dion. And it is well adapted for eastern and central South Dakota, so a little bit more adaptation than Saddle. This one is performing well for yield and test weight, similar to Saddle and Dion. Also white hull variety, and it's also the grain quality is also fitting the milling market. Here we have Reshma. Reshma was just released last fall. This one, the advantage of that one is higher test weight compared to Dion, Saddle, or Warrior. It has much better test weight, excellent test weight, and also excellent yield for eastern and central South Dakota. It has good lodging resistance, not as good as Saddle and Warrior, but still very good. and it is moderately resistant to crown rust. So we will see some pustle on it when it's a heavy crown rust infection, but yet it is not as susceptible as Aidan. It has some resistance, so it's still a good one to consider on the eastern part of the state. And as far as milling characteristic, it has good milling characteristic with a large kernel, so it fits also the milling market. As far as variety that are good for forage, Goliath is one that has performed overall well for forage because it's taller, but it is moderately susceptible to crown rust. And we have performed trials for forage over the last 2 years. We have put the result will be put on SDSU extension website, but overall we see that when we have a lot of crown rust, it affects the forage yield and the forage quality. So it is desirable to plant something that is resistant to crown rust. Reshma actually performed pretty well last year at this location where we had heavy crown rust. We are also evaluating variety performance under organic management here at this farm, and this is supported by General Mills Foundation. We started doing that a few years ago, and so this year we have a trial for the second year at that site. Last year, cultivar Sumo performed well here because of the crown rust resistance and heavy test weight.